All right, Ben Carson goes overseas. And I've said all along that this refugee question from Syria plays right into the immigration debate in this country. The Republicans don't want immigration reform. They'll talk a good game, but when it comes to it, they'll never sign on to it because they want cheap labor, and they certainly don't want these workers signing up into unions. So they have to stop at the borders no matter what the situation is. So Carson goes overseas to Jordan, and he finds out what? Well, these refugees really want to go home. Really? Really? You really? Of course they want to go home. Tell us something we don't know. They're leaving because of the violence and because they've been targeted. Then he says that there's not enough money being spent and that we need to spend more money on it. Here he is.
It seems like everybody in the international community is spending more time saying, how can we bring refugees here, rather than how can we support a facility that is already in place. Jordan could take a lot more of the refugees than they're taking right now. I don't see any reason, quite frankly, that some of the other nations in the area shouldn't also be asked to do it, so that you don't have to go through a big cultural change with them. And in terms of money, you know, when I looked at the refugee camps in Jordan, there's about a $3 billion shortfall annually. That's how much money we spent last year on Halloween candy. Okay. I mean,
all right, so the simplicity continues with Ben Carson. Obviously, refugees don't want to leave their country. They're leaving for a reason. And the reason why this country should take some refugees on is because we are a player in this, and we need to lead, and we need to win the hearts and minds of these people and prove to the world that we are of good nature and always will be when it comes to human rights. Congresswoman, your thoughts on all this?
Oh, absolutely. I had the privilege of the Friday before Thanksgiving going to a dinner sponsored in my neighborhood by Move On with two refugee families from Syria that have been resettled in my community, mother, father, and children. And I said to them, I just wish that all of my colleagues could be here at this dinner and see just a real family dinner, kids running around, everybody feeling friendship and camaraderie. These are families that have been through hell and back and have come to this country and want to be part of it and want to work. Yes, at some point they want to go back to their country. That is not possible now. The other falsehood that Ben Carson said, the countries in the region are being flooded with these refugees and doing their best. And yes, we ought to support them monetarily, but they cannot absorb all of them. And finally, let me say, since 9/11, 750,000 people have been resettled in the United States as refugees, and not one of them has been accused of anything even close to terrorism. 2,300 Syrians have come. None of them have been accused of anything. And so, you know, if we want to protect ourselves here at home, we probably ought to require that people that are on the terrorist watch list not be able to get guns, which over 2,000 have already applied for gun permits. I mean, it's absolutely crazy, but the NRA has stopped legislation that would prevent them from getting guns. So we're just barking up the wrong tree here.